BP will start the healing process in the Gulf, and they'll have to pay dearly to do it. Executives from the oil giant were called on the carpet by President Obama Wednesday. In a 4-hour negotiation session, BP agreed to set up a $20 billion compensation fund for victims of the spill, and that amount could rise if oil continues to spew out of the damaged well.
I'm absolutely confident BP will be able to meet its obligations to the Gulf Coast and to the American people. BP is a strong and viable company, and it is in all of our interests that it remains so. So what this is about is accountability. At the end of the day, that's what every American wants and expects.
BP also apologized for the spill and announced it will not pay dividends to its shareholders this year. The questions, of course, continue for BP Chief Executive Tony Hayward. He'll be grilled by members of Congress later today. And joining us now with more is James Hohmann, national political reporter for Politico. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good to have you here. So let's talk about this $20 billion fund. Specifically, what is it going to go towards?
It's going to go to help people like fishermen, business owners, hotel owners, resort owners, boat owners who can show that they suffered tangible damages from the aftermath of the BP spill.
The president put Ken Feinberg in charge of making sure that these claims are legitimate and the people are getting paid. Was that a smart move for the president to do?
Absolutely. Feinberg is highly respected because of his work on the September 11th damages board, and which people thought was very fair. It was very important to Democrats in the Senate who had been pushing for just this sort of escrow fund and had actually last week called for the $20 billion number to have an independent group administering the money. So they didn't want BP executives denying people's claims. They wanted someone who was respected and independent who could objectively administer them.
Now, what happens, and we all hope this does not happen, but what happens if the oil continues to spew, we can't get a cap on that well, and therefore the losses continue to mount? Is that $20 billion set in stone, or can we increase that amount?
The amount could absolutely increase. This is BP voluntarily coming forward and putting out $20 billion. The president made clear in his speech that this is not a cap on BP's liability. Unlike with that September 11th organization that Feinberg ran, people will still be allowed to sue BP for civil damages after they get money from this fund. It's sort of a stopgap temporary fix. What happened after the Exxon Valdez spill 2 decades ago was that there wasn't really an effective fund, and so people sued Exxon, but it took decades of long legal battles to be able to get even a little bit of money to offset the damages they suffered. This should really get money in people's hands who've suffered relatively soon.
We have been watching approval ratings for the president through this entire process of how he's handling the crisis. Was this meeting too late given the mood of the country?
The mood of the country has definitely turned against the president, and that's why we've seen an aggressive week of efforts by the White House to turn the page. The speech on Tuesday night and the Get Tough meeting on BP Wednesday. I don't think it's too late by any stretch of the imagination, but the president has gotten more and more engaged as he's become more associated in voters' minds with this real crisis.
And so overall for that meeting yesterday, do you think that he got everything that he was looking for, the $20 billion, the apology, or was there something else?
I think he sent the message he wanted to send. It was as much symbolic to show the American people that he's serious and that he's actually able to wring concessions from BP as to actually get that money, because, like you said, $20 billion is really a drop in the bucket in the grand scheme of the amount of damage this is probably done and the amount of money the federal government spends. So I think Obama saw it as a big victory today. Could he have gotten more from BP? Absolutely. But the president and his aides seemed pretty happy on Wednesday.
As we look forward today to the congressional hearings with CEO Tony Hayward, what can we expect?
Well, BP is doing more damage control after Wednesday, when the chairman of the board of directors went out after their 4-hour meeting with the president's aides and said that BP wanted to help the small people. German is his first language, and he mistranslated. That was very bad optics for BP after they'd made this $20 billion commitment, which was voluntary and they really didn't have to do. So Hayward, who has made many gaffes of his own, is going to try not to be too much on the defensive and to try and show that the oil giant is earnest about fixing the damages and is sincere in its apology to the American people and the people of the Gulf Coast.
It's hard, I'm sure, when everyone's watching every single word you make, but this is a very stressful time for many people, and understandably so. All right, James Hohmann from Politico. James, thanks so much.
Thanks, Michelle.